Stop giving your money to woke corporations that hate you and your values. That's why I order all my man's shaving products from Jeremy Razors. Order your Precision 5 starter set today. This set comes with 4 razor blades, sharp as true, with tungsten handle and flip back trimmer. You're not in the market for razors? Jeremy Razors also has other facial products fit just for men. So you don't have to stock your bathroom with products that clean your body but stains your conscience. So shut up and shave. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use cburns15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code cburns15 to save 15% off. Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Shawan Burns, and we have several topics I want to discuss. Our main topic of the hour is Carlee Russell. This young lady, she was missing, and they believe she was abducted between getting off on the highway or whatever, reporting a baby that was missing. And then now she's reappeared. She was dropped off or walked back to her parents' house. And it's something, or everyone is saying something is fishy about her story. And we're going to discuss like the detailed timeline between the time that she was abducted or allegedly abducted to now. And they're planning to host a press conference around 3:30. So I will be streaming that live. And also we are going to discuss women's pay in sports. Now that's been a long discussion. It's been discussed for years. Some women deserve, or they think they deserve, equal pay. And we got some clips that I want to look at, and we're going to get into it about that. Also, finally, Jason Aldean, he is a country star music person, singer. He came up, or his video just dropped, and the lyrics, or the title of the video is "Try That in My Town," try that in a small town. And on the actual video, he's showing like riots, people burning the flag, and people disrespecting the police officers. And one of the things that he showed was the Black Lives Matter protests, and people are outraged about it. And I don't understand, since he's a country music star, why is it assumed that he's only talking to Black people? So we're going to discuss the actual lyrics, and should you be offended by that? I personally, like I said, I don't get offended by words, and I like the song. I like the message that he's trying to convey. But so we'll talk about that. So let's get into, let me just show you his small, this is an insert of the video, and we'll discuss the lyrics. Like I said, I'm not offended by it. Oops, no, I don't want that. But you have some Black people, and it was on the radio today, saying how some Black people are offended by this whole video that he made. And to me, like I said, personally, I like the video. I think it's something everybody should be proud of. Like, you can't try this bullshit over here. Go to some other town. Yeah, you think you could try it over here, but no, you cannot try it in this town. So I particularly like the message, but apparently you got some people, and they're trying to cancel him, that's outraged about this. And let me just show you this. Make sure you guys can see it. Okay, you can't see it. And this is just a minute long video. It's not the whole video, but this is what he's saying. So, and he goes on to say, and this is some of the lyrics. Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. Cuss a cop out, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. You cross the line. It won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. And he goes, the lyrics have the second verse have the same sentiment. Basically, what he's saying, F around and find out in my town or in small towns, because generally small towns, they take care of their own people. Everybody knows everybody. So they take care of their own people. And that's not only white towns, that's black towns too. I don't understand what the outrage is about. So and they're trying to cancel this song. They're trying to cancel it. They're trying to cancel this song. And like I said, I don't know why they're trying to cancel this song. And I don't know why it's so controversial, but people think it's controversial. But okay, is this song better than Pound Town? Let me know. Take me to Pound Town. This guy says, try it in my town, and you got this girl singing, take me to Pound Town. Like, what are you talking about? But these lyrics are offensive. I need people to stop it with the fake outrage, for real. And I don't listen to country music. But I do listen to gospel country music. And I'm not a country music fan. There's some songs that I will listen to, but they're gospel country. But why is try that in a small town is hate speech? They censored the video. Hey, let's not rob old ladies and burn down cities. That, to me, that's like I said, selected outrage. I think he should get an award for speaking out, saying, hey, we're not only supporting the police, but we police our own people. You're not gonna do a bunch of riffraff around here and F around and find out. I don't see nothing's wrong with that. But other lyrics, other artists, and other artists are highly scrutinized. I mean, I remember back in the day, they wouldn't play Ice Cube, NWA on the mainstream media, but now you can get anything on the mainstream media. So I don't understand what the outrage is about. I think he deserves an award, and he should not apologize for being patriotic and caring about his people that he lives around. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Anyway, like I said, it's fake outrage. You guys type in the chat, let me know what you think. To me, it's fake outrage. I don't see what the problem is. So this next thing we're going to talk about, let me just pull it up for you guys. I saw this video last night. This video is on YouTube with Piers Morgan and Just Pearly Things. I guess she changed her name. Her name is Pearl Davis. She just changed it to her regular name. I'm not a true fan of Pearl because sometimes I think she be grifting. I think her talking points is like she regurgitate the same talking points. I don't think she is and maybe because she's just young, she's just regurgitating things that she heard and she agrees with. I don't think it's authentic. I think she regurgitates the same information. But anyway, needless to say, she was on Piers Morgan, and this is not her first time being on Piers Morgan. This is she's been on Piers Morgan several times debating stuff about women. One of her controversial talking points is she don't think women should be able to vote because she feels like women don't contribute to society, which is kind of weird that she would say that, because even though we might not sign up for a plumbing job, or most men are building, establishments around here. But you do have some women, they contribute. They are nurses, they are doctors. There's some women engineers, women sign up in the armed forces. You have some women, and most women, if you are employed, you got to pay taxes. So I don't know where that comes from, but she was debating if women should be paid the same amount as she was debating if women should be paid the same amount as men. And I totally agree with her sentiment. I don't think women should get paid the same amount as men because you don't generate enough revenue. Flat out, if you know anything about business, if you draw off your income, it matches what you make. If you're a business owner, you can't make $100,000 a year if you only generating $100,000 a year off of revenues. After you pay everything off, your employees, your staff, your overhead, whatever that case may be, then you are left with probably 10 to 15% of that revenue. Now, if you're not the business owner and you're just an employee or hired contracted talent, you get a certain set amount. And that set amount is varied based upon your talent. So, as you can see up here, Pearl said, I'm tired of women whining. She said, I'm tired of women whining. So I'm gonna interject, when we get into this, but the basis of this conversation is from, and I'll show you a clip where I'm getting this from, because earlier this week, Brittney Griner was praised for making the dunk, right? And everyone was like, oh yeah, she made a dunk, but she traveled. She traveled to make this dunk. I think I was listening to Black Conservative. He said she traveled all the way to Russia to make this dunk. But I'll show you that clip. Anyway, so this is Piers Morgan and Pearl Davis, and they got some other lady on here.
At the end of the day,
well, joining me in the studio is socialist and author Grace Blakely and YouTube commentator Pearl Davis, both, I would imagine, identifying as provocateurs.
Of course.
Let's talk about this first of all. Pearl, I just find the whole personal pronoun thing honestly absurd. My personal pronouns on my Twitter biography are now hot, hotter, hottest. And frankly, if people don't call me those, then they have to be jailed. I go along with that. But I did that to highlight that when I do that and say that, people then accuse me of being ridiculous. I think the whole thing is ridiculous. Why do we need personal pronouns?
We don't need personal pronouns. I don't think it's kind to allow people to live in delusion.
36 footballers.
Rights to be paid.
Okay, I had to forward the video because that was not the part I wanted. But this is the part where they start talking.
But like, literally, it's about priority. Those issues aired in the... Let's have those issues aired in the appropriate, spaces.
We are.
In sports, have that discussion amongst, sports people. But like, literally, it's about priorities, isn't it? There is a certain number of time that we have on these shows to discuss the issues that matter.
You don't think women's... Hang on, before we come to our next...
I don't think women's sport matters as much as climate change. I think like having a planet in which we can play sport matters more than the rules of sport.
Does women's equality matter?
I know that makes me probably absolutely
Does women's
insane.
Equality matter to you?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, but actually,
Okay.
I mean, the whole point that I was going to make on this segment actually is that like you cannot separate feminism from class issues. Like if you're just going around saying like, I don't know, I think the female CEO of a weapons manufacturer should be paid the same as a male CEO, and that's the hill I'm going to die on. I'm not fighting that fight with you because ultimately, like, what I care about are the struggles that ordinary women face every day.
Well, let's come to the main point of the segment, which is this issue of women's rights to be paid the same as men in sport. Now, the Australian women's football team have criticised the pay gap in the upcoming World Cup prize money. Let's take a look at what they said as a team.
736 footballers have the honour of representing their country on the world's biggest stage, this tournament.
Yet many are still denied the basic right to organise and collectively bargain.
Collective bargaining has allowed us to ensure we now get the same conditions as the Socceroos, with one exception. FIFA will still only offer women 1/4 as much prize money as men for the same achievement.
Well, OK, this is interesting, Pearl, because if you look at the revenue, for example, in 2019, FIFA generated £586 million in total revenue. The men's, for the 2019-22 cycle, £5.8 billion. Record revenue through the Men's World Cup. So the women's game...
Did you guys hear the revenue? I mean, I know it's in pounds, but that's the same in United States, okay? I believe, like, if we take the WNBA versus the NBA, the WNBA made $61 million last year, okay? And then the NBA, what, $2 billion? What did the NBA make? I believe it was $2 billion. 2022 revenue. Look, $10 billion. $10 billion. And the WNBA, that was last year. The WNBA revenue, okay, I stand corrected because I was thinking that was projected revenue. Let me see. They said the league bought in $60 billion or $60 million last year in 2022. They projected it will make more. They thinking it's going to do 200 million. So a great difference that's generated, or 180 million. But anyway, look, it's a substantial difference between women and men as far as revenue. Now, if we're talking about collective bargaining agreement, or we're talking about a percentage split, okay, percentage split of your revenue. Do you want to have the same things that the guys have, like access to sports trainers, maybe physical therapists, the same type of facilities? Okay, then your revenue is going to shrink, or your monies will shrink, because now we got to, okay, your salary is all inclusive. If people know about salary, when you get hired at a job, okay, this is your salary, but what that also is included in your salary package is healthcare benefits, other type of benefits that your employer offers you. Healthcare, 401k, different types of stock purchases or stock options if you are profit sharing. those are all included in your salary. So if you're saying, hey, I want more benefits in my collective bargaining agreement, okay, we want 8% of our revenues or 10% of our revenues. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But note that if you say I want a better facility, okay, who's going to eat up that cost? We're going to add that into the total amount of your salary. This is just common sense. And I don't know why this is still a topic, a thing that people don't understand.
Has come on in leaps and bounds. The English Lionesses, fantastic win, sellout crowds. They're making a lot more money. They're definitely way, way further now towards where the men are commercially than they were, but they're still a way off. And when you saw at Wimbledon, for example, the men's final was watched by 3 times as many people, and yet they were both free to air on the BBC. You could watch both if you wanted to. So there was 3 times as much interest in the men's game. They played 2 sets more per match than the women do, and yet the women get equal pay. I'm not quite sure why. I don't think it's a matter of equality. It's just a matter of fairness, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I won. I think all of the women should thank the men for funding our leagues, because most of our leagues would not exist without the men, number one. Number two, when we have the same numbers, then we should get the same pay. I'm sorry, I play volleyball at the highest level, and it's like, when we make what the men make and get the crowds that the men draw, then we should get paid the same.
Well, see, why is it actually a fight for equality, Grace? I mean, why, if women in a particular sport, for example, turned out to generate more revenue, right, because they were more watchable, and in America, the women's football team is better than the men, and they do generate, even at school level, far more interest from girls than boys, for example, I don't see why equality should be the aim. Why shouldn't they get paid more than the men?
Well, look, I mean, there are all...
No, because, Piers, you're asking the wrong question. They don't want equality. They want more pay. They don't want equality, because if you say it's equal and I say the 17%, and this is based off of numbers, NBA, 17% of the revenue is devoted to the talent, the players. Whereas the WNBA, I think they said 23 or 27% is the revenue is devoted towards the talent or the players. So is that equal? No, that is not equal. They get more of the profit sharing for the women. The men do not get more of the profit sharing. So we can't say, hey, we want equality. We just want to get paid more. That's just what it is. So they want to get paid more, and they wondering why they're not bringing in $1 million salaries. And to what is the girl's name? Pearl's point. She made a valid point. Hey, we need to be thinking, and I didn't play sports in high school. I did, but I wasn't good enough to make it on to no other field. But if you really think about it, most of the female sports is subsidized by the men's sport. So, like she said, we should be thinking that, hey, thank you for subsidizing me. Thank you for footing the bill. Now, is that sexist? Maybe so. Maybe you think that's a sexist remark. But I think if you're not making the money, why should you get paid more if you don't bring in enough revenue? Maybe you need to look at maybe you need to get sponsorships, like some of these gymnastic players. Some of these gymnastic players or competitors, they end up getting sponsors from Wheaties, Gatorade, Nike, whatever it is, and they get sponsorships, and that's how they get their money. So instead of complaining, make yourself attractive to corporate sponsorships, and you wouldn't worry about your base pay. We're going to listen to a little bit more, but I'm not going to harp on this.
Sorts of problems with the way that this market for labor, and it is basically a market for labor, works. Like, I personally don't think that the top football players in the world should be paid as much as they do. I think it's ridiculous, the amount.
But that's market force.
Exactly. It's market forces.
Well, why shouldn't they get
that be the way that we decide, you know, who generates what? Personally, I'm very much in favour of the fact that they came out there and said collective bargaining. Ultimately, like, the average worker in this country hasn't had a pay rise in over a decade. How is that going to change? That's going to change when they organise with one another.
I am so tired of women whining.
Mate,
it's
the only person whining at the moment is you.
Literally, the men fund our leagues, and we will still whine that we don't get paid enough. And honestly, when athletes do shit like this, it makes all of us look bad. Because instead of being thankful for the league that we have, we go out and whine and complain about the pay.
I mean, as I said, I'm not whining. You sound like you're maybe doing a bit of whining. But like, personally, I don't think we should be whining. I think people should be organising. If you want a pay increase, join a union, get out there and fight for it. That's my view.
Should the women footballers get the same as the men?
Yeah, I think it probably makes sense.
Even if they're not making anything like the revenue?
Ultimately, like, it's not going to change. It's not going to change unless they organise. That's actually...
And this lady, she makes sense, but she doesn't have a clue. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you should get paid the same. But she doesn't have a clue of how revenue works. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you get, if you're not a big name talent, why would I give you more than the next person? You don't attract the fans to the stand. So why would I spend my money on you? You're mediocre. And when I say mediocre compared to men. We're comparing these sports to men's sports. I just want to show you this last clip. I'm not going to play this the whole video, but let me show you this last clip. And people were screaming that Brittney Griner dunked
this weekend than that. There it is. BG is back. You will see this weekend than that. There it is, BG.
But if you look at her dunk, that's when she got the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She look, and I used to play for fun in basketball, but I know you can't you can't get a half court run and start to dunk the ball. And they
there it is. BG is
you literally, and we wonder why are women in sports wondering why they can't get more pay. Why don't you? And it looks like they got some people packing the stands, but come on now, you're less exciting. And is that a dunk? To me, that was a layup. Let me know. To me, that was a straight layup. Okay, so maybe I got it wrong. Is this a dunk? Is that a dunk? Maybe it's a dunk because she's a girl. And I'm not trying to hate on that, but Brittney Griner, she's 6'9". She should be able to put her elbow in the rim.
You have to wash all of them.
You only had 2 dishes, Chase. You need to dry all the dishes. I washed everything else. If they're not washed, then wash them and dry them all. But anyway, so you got a 6'9" woman and they screaming about, oh, she dunked the ball. No, she didn't dunk the ball. She did a layup and she touched the rim. Let me know if I'm wrong. Tell me, Shawan, you being a hater. Shawan, you hate. Okay. Tell me, Shawan, you are hating. Okay, so that's it about equal pay. Okay, so we're gonna go to our main story of the hour. our main story where Carlee Russell, let's see where this is at. Carlee Russell is having, people are not, they're poking holes in her story. Let's start it off right there. Carlee Russell, Chase, come and close this door. Carlee Russell, they are poking holes in her story. So it starts off, this story starts off with Carlee leaving from, I guess she went to go get something to eat, and she was traveling down 469 to she was traveling down 469, I guess, to go home, and she called her 911 and said, hey, there's a baby, a toddler with a diaper on the side of the road. And so she pulled over, and while she was pulled over, so she reported it, and the police was coming out to see what was going on. She pulled over, and at the time, she called her cousin and told her cousin, hey, the same story. There's a baby on the side of the road. I'm going to pull over and I'm checking it out to see if the baby's okay. No, I will pull over and to get the baby and take him to the police department. That's my, then I will, I will still make that 911 call, but I wouldn't just wait in the dark and wait for the police to come. I wouldn't do that. That's my own personal opinion. If I was 25, I would do the same thing. So this is the dispatch that was heard after the police showed up, or they dispatched the call to the actual police. And this is what they were saying.
42. 71, it's going to be 459 South, mile marker 10. It's going to be a child walking on the 3 or 4-year-old child walking on the side of the interstate next to her. RP's going to be close by in a red Mercedes sedan with the hazards on. Child's going to be a white male wearing a white t-shirt and a diaper.
42 copy from YMCA.
10-4.
Seven 38.
738.
State Tower has possession of that vehicle so far.
What?
I'll be giving one black male a courtesy ride from my location to Waffle House on Columbiana Road. My mileage is 843. I'm in unit 153.
9132.
.442. RP's advising there's no cars in the area. Looks like the child's been abandoned on the side of the road.
42 copy. Traffic stop.
So
Carlethea Drive in the parking lot of Chick-fil-A. So white Chevrolet Silverado, Whiskey Foxtrot Mike 756.
42, receiving.
.442. You're actually going to have to access from 31. They're going to be plotting just before the exit. 441, can I get you to head that way?
10-3,
Even that way.
So it sounds like they're looking for her right now as we speak. Okay, they found the car and it's abandoned. And now they're actively looking for Carlee and this kid, this toddler that she reported missing. Okay.
Or when you still got him on the phone. Negative, but she's said that she would stand by for police. I'm getting 23. Yeah, 4. $738 in mileage. Ending is 844. You show me in service, Charlie.
141.
CLA, red color to Nicole Russell out of Birmingham, 1011.
So anywho,
438.
they couldn't find Carlee. They couldn't find her. They tried to call her phone, but then they found her phone close to the scene. Her wig was on the floor or on the ground, and the kid wasn't there. So this is now, so we just got a missing person. We have a missing person, and so now this prompted her parents. I don't know where that's coming from. Oh, there we go. Anyway, so this prompted her parents to get online. Get online, and they had the mom was distraught. She was distraught because, you know, her baby's missing. Her baby's missing, and they didn't know where she was at, so they assumed that she was abducted. I'm trying to find a news report. So they just assumed that she was abducted, and what they did was they put out a search for her. A whole bunch of people came out for Carlee because they couldn't find her. And it's sad because, you know, a lot of young black people come up missing, and there's always talked about, hey, they don't put enough effort into finding these young black people. There's never enough effort to find these young people that's missing. But they pulled out all the stops with Carlee Russell. They made sure that they had enough resources to find her. And why can't I find a news report? Let me just, that I had showed. Okay, so let me just go to videos. Okay, this is CBS. And so, like I said, they had the police department. There was several vehicles on the highway. They even have a helicopter that came out to see if they could find Carlee Russell.
As Zoom are Carlee's parents, Carlos and Talitha Russell. Mr. and Mrs. Russell, thanks so much for making the effort to speak with us here tonight. You say that you're in Atlanta. Has there been a tip or information that has come in that your daughter could possibly be in the Atlanta area?
Yes, we received a tip, but we had already planned to search the Georgia area. The tip turned out not to be a viable tip. Nonetheless, we had planned to visit and search the Georgia area anyway, so it was not a waste of our time. We put out flyers, searched the areas, different areas, exits. We had, we probably covered at least 20 exits. And so we got a decent amount of ground covered.
Police say that they are looking at all possibilities, all theories here. Do you believe someone has taken your daughter against her will?
I'm not sure why they're looking at all possibilities. It's very clear she was abducted from the phone call that she last had with one of our relatives, and they heard her scream. The 911 call that she made to the Hoover Police Department stating that there was a small child on the side of the road, and the evidence that was left behind. We are 99% sure that she was abducted.
And we felt that way from the beginning.
Okay, yeah. Can you, let's talk about the details from that, from what happened to her last night. It is believed that she was reported missing after she vanished after reporting a child walking on I-459. Police say there are no reports of someone missing a child from the area. What are your thoughts on that particular detail of this child on the side of the interstate? Could that child have been a decoy to lure someone like your daughter out of her car, or do you believe it was a legitimate child who was just out there walking?
No, we do. We believed from the very beginning that was a decoy. We've heard of those decoys, and we've actually told our daughter, don't fall for those decoys. She did, but she's a very passionate person. She's a caring person, and she told the family member that she could not leave a little child that appeared to be 3 or 4 years old just on the interstate. Mm-hmm. She was advised to just call 911, which she did. 911 asked our daughter Carlee got out the car apparently and asked the child, were they okay? Were they okay? The family member heard her on the phone, and then they heard a scream. So it's very obvious. She left her car running. She left her car door open. That means she was planning to go back and get in her car and come home safely.
We had a little issue there with your Zoom, but hopefully we can hang here for just a second more. I think this is important. What is your message to your daughter and her potential abductor if they are watching this, if they see this interview tonight?
Our message is that we are trusting God. Carlee, know you are scared, and I know you are just praying praying to God because you do have faith and you hang on to that faith, and your family and your friends, we're all hanging on to that faith. We're not letting any negative thoughts enter our heads. We're not going to let the enemy have the last word on this. We are trusting God that you are coming home safely. So you believe that no matter what. And we are praying that God will touch the heart and the mind of her abductor and change their heart and their mind and soften it, and that they would just turn and hear the voice of God and let Carlee return home safely.
Well, I know every parent, every grandparent, everybody just hearing that, our thoughts and our prayers are with you. Thanks so much for your time tonight, and good luck with your search efforts.
Thank you.
We are praying for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here is another look at Carlee Russell tonight. Police say she is 5'4" and weighs between 150 to 160 pounds. If you see her or know where she may be, call Crime Stoppers. Again, the parents believe that, well, her wig was actually found at the scene. So if you do see her, she could have cornrows in her hair. The number to call is 205-254-7777. We will continue to follow this story throughout the weekend.
News Nation is getting.
So yeah, it's horrific. And like I said, if she was actually abducted, it's horrible for a person to get taken away, right? But I'm going to share you something. And this is why the media or social media is kind of turning on this story. They don't believe her story. Now, they have an aerial view camera on the highway where Carlee Russell stopped. And on this aerial view, you could see where you could see where Carlee put on her hazard lights and stopped. She was slowing down and she was driving on the I guess the embankment. And she stops. You can kind of see her walking out, but you don't see any kids, which is weird. I don't know. I'm not familiar with 469, so I don't know. Okay, where does that lead to? So, like I said, maybe it was a abduction or a decoy to lure somebody out the car, but who's to say you're gonna lure a woman out the car? It could have been a man that would have came out the car. So you see what I'm saying? So like I said, this doesn't make really much sense, but let's see. So they're showing this. You see her driving. This is her flashing. That's her car right here flashing. You really can't see. I'm assuming if you've seen somebody, if her car, let's just back up. She traveled some feet. So if you started flashing your car, where's the kid at? You see lights over here. Where's the kid at? And why? How come nobody else stopped? You mean to tell me nobody else on this busy highway saw the kid and not gonna stop? That's why I said people are poking holes at this story. This is a 5-minute long video. You don't see, you see her get out. I think you see that shadow figure. I believe that's her getting out. But that's all you see. Somebody said it was a gray vehicle. And this is where the police showed up. That's the police. And they showed up and nobody was there. So you got to wonder, people are starting to poke holes in these stories, and it's kind of odd that, if it was a missing kid, where's the missing kid at? If it was a decoy, okay, why, how come they let you go if it was a decoy? This picture right here is just showing how many people that was out. It was tons of police officers, tons of residents, people driving miles to find Carlee Richardson or Carlee Russell. And they didn't find anything. They didn't find anything. All they found was a wig. All they found was a wig in her cell phone in her car. Her car was left. So we don't know what actually happened. All we know is the claims that she made.
At approximately 9:34 p.m., the Hoover 911 Center received a call from a 25-year-old female on I-459 southbound near mile marker 11. She reported that she saw a toddler walking on the side of the interstate. After calling 911, the caller stopped to check on the child and also called a family member to report the same details. The family member lost contact with the caller, but the line remained open. Police officers who were already en route to the location of the initial 911 call located the female's vehicle as well as some of her belongings at the scene. They were unable to find her or a child in the area, and Hoover Police have not received any additional calls of someone missing a small child. Detectives are currently investigating these incidents and are requesting the public's assistance to help locate Carlethea Carlee Nicole Russell. She's described as a 25-year-old black female who is 5'4", 150 to 160 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black shirt, black pants, and white Nike tennis shoes. Carlee got off work last night around 8:20 p.m. from a business at the Summit in Birmingham. She's also believed to have stopped to pick up food from a business at the Colonnade before driving towards Hoover on I-459, where she stopped near mile marker 11. That location is between the Galleria flyover and exit 10 for Highway 150. A single witness has reported possibly seeing a gray vehicle with a light-complected male standing outside of Carlee's vehicle, but we have no further information on that individual or the vehicle at this time. No piece of information is too small in this investigation. If you have any information, please contact Detective Brad Fountain at 205-444-7562 or Sergeant Drew Mims at 205-739-7274. You can also call Crime Stoppers of Metro Alabama at 205-254-7777.
So, like I said, Carlee...
It happened so fast, but I still remember every little detail.
My bad. Carlee Russell, they pulled out all the stops. People were on Instagram trying to find her. This is the police force out there. It was full of people, full of support, trying to find this young black woman. And Tamika Mallory, she decided to tweet something crazy. Let me find her tweet. I guess she thought that they wasn't supporting this cause enough. And I don't know if you guys, if you know Tamika Mallory. She's a activist, but they gave her a lot of slack. Actually, the girl that got killed from that no-knock warrant in Memphis somewhere, I think it was Memphis. They raised money in her name. Breonna Taylor, that's the girl's name. They raised money in her name, and her mama called her out, saying they never got none of that money that they raised. So some of these people are hustlers. Some of these people are fake hustlers, and they want to ride the train of, hey, this is something that happened. Let's raise some money. Let's start a foundation to keep these people off the street, or search for young girls, when they won't give any money to the cause. They will raise money for a cause and use it for their own gain, just like Black Lives Matter. I'm trying to find her tweet. That's if they didn't erase it. Okay, so this is what the Shade Room shared. It says, thinking about equipment and technology that used to search for rich white men on submarine. Has Alabama deployed rescue dogs, human motion detectors, air search equipment, whatever rescue procedures and personnel that can help with the rescue, the search and rescue should be in motion right now. They had a time clock for the submarine, and we know there is a serious timeline for people who go missing. So we need activity for Carlee Russell. Okay, and then you got Miss Tina Lawson. That's Beyonce mom saying something like, oh yeah, girl, couldn't have said it better myself. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. You're supposed to stick up for your people. But did she see the news camera? Did she see the same thing I was looking at? The amount of they offered a $50,000 reward for the missing student. If I could get past this advertisement. Excuse me, it was a $25,000. I think that was a $25,000 reward. But they had tons of people out for Carlee. Tons of people. But Tamika had to grift to say they wasn't doing enough. And like I said, I believe they don't do enough when young black kids are missing. I agree with that. But look at all these people. Look at all these police officers. Do you see all these police officers that's out here looking for her? They got some K9 units. Other people gathered for the search party. Look at all these people. So I don't understand why she would say that they wasn't looking for her. So then you had 48 hours later, Carlee decided to show up. 48 hours later, she returned home. And her, of course, her mom and everyone was thankful that she decided to return home. Now, I want to share you with this one video. This was on NBC News, which was the way that her parents was asking the questions or answering the questions was kind of like, now we really don't believe you. I know you can't tell us details, but what happened? And where's the kid at? Where's the kid? This was today.
For millions of
This was on the Today Show, and they interviewed Carlee Russell's parents after she returned home.
Eyes on her again. What was it like?
To me, I mean, just so much joy.
This morning, in an exclusive sit-down with NBC News, the parents of 25-year-old Carlee Russell are speaking out, describing the moment their daughter appeared on their doorstep after being missing for more than 48 hours.
What did you do when you saw her?
We tried to hug her as best we could, but I had to stand back because she was not in a good state. So we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her.
Tell me this. Your child is missing. Now, this is why people are poking holes at their story, or maybe her mom misspoke. How is it the medical professionals are there when she comes in? That's what it sounds like. She said, "Oh, I tried to hug her, but I had to stand back." So was they just camped out at your house? How was they there? How did they know that she was there? I'm kind of confused because they said she walked home. She was able to walk home.
But so we had to stand back because she was not in a good state. So we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her.
You see where I'm getting at? She had to stand back and let the medical professionals take care of her. But how did the medical professionals know that she was at your home? If your kid come missing and they come home, you dial 911. Don't you have some time like, "Hey, are you okay? Let me hug you." And she's freaked out or whatever. You normally get a blanket and just hold your baby, right? How was the medical or paramedics there where you didn't even get time to really hug your daughter? That's what doesn't make really sense to me.
But it's okay.
Last Thursday, police say Carlee called 911 to report a toddler walking alone on the interstate. She pulled over while on the phone with a family member who described hearing Carlee scream.
Her vehicle's unlocked, running, all her personal belongings except for her phone.
On the scene, police found no sign of Carlee or a child, and they say no children were reported as missing during that time period. The Russells waited in agony until Saturday night.
There were actually just so many calls and texts from people who maliciously lied to us. I just didn't know people could be so evil.
Authorities have not indicated where Carlee was during the 48 hours she was missing or what happened. Her parents declined to share what their daughter told them, citing the ongoing investigation.
And can you tell me what happened Saturday night? Did you just get a knock at the door?
Anything leading to the case itself, we can't discuss that.
But they say speculation about the circumstances surrounding Carlee's disappearance are only making things worse.
She's having to deal with the trauma of people just making completely false allegations about her.
Her family now urging the public to let the investigation play out, but mentioning an abductor. Her mother asking to read a brief message to the public.
Carlee has given detectives her statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there?
Answer me this. And this is an honest question. And I'm not trying to be a naysayer or mean about it. You're on the highway, you saw a baby. Tons of people are on the highway. Tons of people are on the highway. But you're the one that pulls over to see about this baby. You're the only one. And as we see on the video camera, that highway was packed full of people. But you're the only good citizen to pull your car over. How does the abductor know a woman will pull over? I asked this question earlier. How does the abductor know a woman will be pulled over? And how come we can't see a child in the video? A shadow figure? Something. So I think a mental health check is needed with Carlee Russell. That's my own personal opinion. And maybe a mental health check with mom, because mom doesn't look stable at all. And I'm going to be praying for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
NBC News has reached out to the Hoover Police Department to ask whether they're looking for an individual involved. Police have just said they're following up on all information provided by Carlee.
And when I talked to you all on Saturday, you also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss the details of that.
But they say one thing is clear.
Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life.
Why did you answer that question like that? Like I said, I'm not trying to be a person that's mean and don't believe anybody, but why did you answer that question like that? Did you guys listen to that?
She found her way back to us. However,
you all on Saturday, you also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss the details of that.
But they say one thing is clear.
Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life. There were moments when she physically had to fight for her life, and there were moments when she had to mentally fight for her life.
But
beautiful young lady, but mom is saying, however she got here, we can't discuss the details of that. You know your child. You know how your child is. Me, if I didn't like all this attention, and my kid went missing and they came back, I wouldn't even go on the news. I wouldn't go on the news. They would just have to wonder, and I would let the investigation play out. I wouldn't have people prying into my personal life like that. But mom is not doing Carlee any justice, because mom sounds suspicious too, like she was part of the whole ring. You might be saying, why would she do this? Why would she fake abduct herself? Well, why do crazy people, why did Jussie Smollett did what he did? He said a Trump supporter beat him up on the south side of Chicago. Downtown Chicago. A guy with a MAGA hat beat up Jussie Smollett. If you're brave enough to wear a MAGA hat in Chicago, at least downtown Chicago. So why did Jussie did that? What does she have to gain for lying about her abduction? What does her family have to gain for lying about her abduction? Is it a lie? We're noticing holes in this story, because if you say there was a baby on the side of the road, that camera would have picked up a shadow figure, and nobody saw that. No one saw it. I kind of saw her shadow figure on the other side of the car, but no one really saw it.
She made it back to you.
She made it back.
Yeah, she did make it back. All right, Priscilla, so investigators are obviously busy on this case. What are they looking into going forward?
Yeah, Hoda, right now they're analyzing that initial 911 call and also that traffic cam video showing that car driving on the interstate very slowly with its flashers on, believed to be Carlee's car. And of course, they're looking at the evidence from the crime scene, including the car and her cell phone, which was found on the roadway nearby. Police say that they have been able to account for all of her steps leading up to her disappearance, but those 48 hours when she was gone still remain a mystery. Hoda?
Yeah, leaving behind her phone, her pocketbook, and all those things, a lot of things that investigators are looking into. Priscilla, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss.
So, like I said, this story is suspicious. You have plenty of people going to Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, saying something about this story. You have a lot of people showing up for Carlee, and a lot of people are just saying, hey, we don't believe it if we think she's lying. And you know what Black folks do well? We know how to suspect bullshitters. We know when our own people are bullshitting us. We did that with Jussie Smollett, and we doing this now. And you definitely had a lot of people putting a tweet out for Carlee Russell. A tweet on Instagram, a post of her picture trying to find out, okay, how can we find this girl? Because, you know, the longer it gets, the less time you could find a person that was abducted. Does Carlee Russell fits an abductor profile? Yeah, I mean, if it was a serial killer, I don't know about sex trafficking. She's kind of older for that. But like, hey, you could get abducted because you probably got a serial killer in the area or something like that. But that's like really slim to none, because who's to say a woman is going to stop for a baby? Who's to say? And why aren't they saying in all the encounters with the media, what happened to the baby? Why isn't anyone saying, hey, even posed a question to the mom and the dad. Hey, we don't see a baby in this video. We don't see a baby in this video. You know, so where's the pushback at? We just gonna go along with the story because, oh, we're so happy that they found her. If like I said, if they're reporting the news, why wouldn't you give her pushback on that? The parents pushback. Okay, they got this video posted, a 5-minute video of Carlee with the flashing light, and even the police officer, they show Carlee getting out the car, some shadow figure, but on the actual video, we don't see a baby in diapers. Why didn't anybody give the parents pushback on that? Or even, they didn't even give them pushback. They didn't even ask the question. We're just taking it, I guess, because Black Lives Matter. We just got to take the story what it is. Black Lives Matter, so we just gonna let Black lives lie to us and use all these resources on something that wasn't true. I came across another story about Carlee. I guess they questioned the boyfriend. I guess they questioned the boyfriend. And let me see if I can find it. The boyfriend said he didn't have any involvement in her kidnapping. And now, you know, Carlee Russell is trending. Boyfriend of Alabama woman Carlee Russell suggests that she was kidnapped before her safe return. Okay, we know that. Boyfriend, 25-year-old, the boyfriend of a 25-year-old Alabama woman disappeared last week, reporting a toddler walking around on the side of the road of the interstate, suggested that she was kidnapped in a social media post Sunday, announcing her safe return. His name is Tamar Latrell Simmons, said on Instagram post, "All I ask from everyone right now is to be respectful of Carlee's situation." Apparently they said she was fighting for her life. It's unclear if Simmons' claim came directly from Russell, her family, or officials, as no one has given any details about her disappearance in public. This is from The Root. These are 5 crazy internet stories that they're trending. They said it's a fake abduction. Y'all people immediately jumped the gun, assumed this entire story of her being abducted is made up and just a ploy for attention simply because of lack of information. The public concluded Carlee fabricated her story abduction, but with an unspecified motive. Well, what was Jussie Smollett's motive? To say he got beat up? I guess because he didn't want to be canceled. I'm not for sure. Fake outrage to have attention on himself. I'm not for sure. The second thing, they said mental illness. The public speculates that Carlee's disappearance was a result of mental illness and a health crisis, hallucinations, or even psychotic paranoia. Then the third one, that could very well be. Because like I said, a video doesn't lie. So if a video is not lying, you can't fabricate a video. Well, you can. You can fabricate a video because of artificial intelligence. But this feed is directly from the feed of the actual traffic. This is the traffic cam. So you can't fabricate that. So maybe it was a health crisis. We don't know. There was no baby. Twitter users have gotten a kick out of suggesting Carlee never saw a toddler to begin with, specifically because they can't see any figures in the traffic camera video, because we can't. There are claims have been fueled by various news outlets who interview human trafficking experts that suggest children are not used as ploy to kidnap people. The police department saw no sign of a child upon arriving at the scene, but Carlee told 911 that night she vanished and not been disputed otherwise. Drug abuse. I'm not going to speculate on her drug abuse. Does she abuse drugs? We don't know that. She doesn't look like a drug user. The gone girl theory. Some random Facebook users named Sharon. Look, some random Facebook user named Sharon posted screenshots of a message claiming Carlee tried to pull a gone girl and get back at her boyfriend for cheating on her with a stripper. They claim she checked into a Red Roof Inn for the 2 days she was gone. One TikTok users even pulled images what is allegedly her Instagram showing dispute with the alleged side piece. Really? The police said Carlee belongings, including her purse and her phone, were left at the scene. It's unclear if her identification or credit cards were also left behind. Russell boyfriend Tamar Latrell Simmons has not addressed these allegations, but did address those claiming he had something to do with her disappearance. Oh, this is the guy that she's dating. His Instagram name is TT Sims or T Sims. Do you know that what also seems odd? They're using the same verbiage. That seems odd to me. Look at this. She was literally fighting for her life 48 hours. So until she's physically and mentally stable again. She is not able to give any updates or whereabouts on her kidnapper at this very moment. She was literally fighting for her life. Do we just say that because we regurgitate what other people say? I find it odd for a Black man to be saying that the same thing other people said. I don't know. Would you regurgitate the same information? Would you guys have the same dialect that you heard other people say? She was literally fighting for her life. This is what she was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours. No one sees the oddness in that. To me, that's real odd. Ex-experience, big liars through their teeth. Carlee Smollett lied to her wig. Stop it. Her family gonna say that she attempted a suicide but fought against her inner demon. That's why her mother says she fought mentally when asked in an interview. Remember this. Yeah, I think you're right. I find, like I said, I find it really odd that they're using the same language. She was fighting for her life for 48 hours. She was fighting for her life for 48 hours. I'm pretty sure some other tweet said that too. She was fighting for her life for 48 hours. And we should take their word for it. This is a tweet that just came out. For those who say it's none of our business what happened to Carlee Russell. I live in her neighborhood just a few streets over from her house. I do not know her personally, but our community rallied together and put forth our best efforts to find her. We collected donations and sent thousands of dollars to her parents via Venmo, Cash App, gift cards, and cash. We held a community-wide prayer vigil on the street. We printed and hung posters all throughout the town. We hosted prayer and popsicles. One day in the neighborhood, a neighbor created a sign-up sheet to take her parents' meals for weeks. Crafty people in our neighborhood created pink and green awareness ribbons that we all displayed on our front doors at our expense. Just to name a few things we devoted ourselves to. We all mourned together for 2 whole days. We dropped everything to help her and provide support for her parents. Some of us were in fear for our own lives, and then the story began to unfold. And like the rest of the country, we began to scratch our heads. People removed themselves from the meal sign-up sheet. The bowls are dwindling from the front porches, and our neighbors deserve answers. Her parents want privacy, and then they go on today's show. If you want privacy, that's another thing. If you want privacy, why would you go on the Today Show? Did not mention that before? Hey, I want privacy. Why would I go on Today's Show? I couldn't hold my daughter when she came in because I had to let the paramedics take care of it. I had to step back. Well, why are the paramedics there already? This story has so many holes in it, like Swiss cheese. We gave all for her and her family, and we were waiting on bated breath for some good news. I personally dropped to my knees and sobbed when I got a text they found her alive. When I heard that, I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I was like, oh my goodness, they found her alive. But now you want to know, okay, what happened? Because they said she walked back home. She escaped. They don't even use the word escaped. She escaped. Is that too much to say, oh, my daughter, okay, you're not giving us enough information for the case. My daughter came home. She escaped her abductors, not that she fought for her life for 48 hours. What happened to, oh yeah, she escaped her abductors? Wouldn't that be a word that you would use to describe if your family member was abducted and they came back home on foot? You'd be like, yeah, my daughter fought for her life. She escaped her abductors. Wouldn't you use that word? And now nothing crickets, okay? So, you know, we all feel duped. I want my money back. I want the PTO I used to aid in rescue search back. Enough is said. This is an anonymous participant. Anonymous. Anonymous participant that lives in the neighborhood. This is another story. This Carlee Russell chick is starting to look more like Carlee the Hustle chick. Y'all stop it. You know black folks is wrong. Using the same words means all agreed on lying. Yeah. Usually when you got a real authentic story, you're going to describe something different. You're not going to use the same words. All of these words sound coached, like they practice what to say. I'm from Boston. This is experience. I'm from Boston, and I'm so pissed because one, people of South are the best people in the U.S. and don't deserve this lies and BS. Two, I'm a 37-year-old man, and I offered to travel to Alabama to join the search for her. I'm so glad you didn't waste your money, brother. I am so glad you did not go down to Alabama to waste your money on some crazy stuff. We've all been talking about the Carlee Russell case. This is her. And let me play this. We've all been talking about the Carlee Russell case. This is her Instagram, Carlee. Over the last few days, you know, she shocked the nation, and black women all over the country felt empowered. We felt finally pleased that America was caring about black women. Every national news outlet was reporting about Carlee Russell. This is the first time this has ever happened. The hunt was on to find this black girl. But then when she showed up at our house, it got a little greasy.
Why did it get a little breezy? Because she just showed up. So then that's when the world got divided. Wait, what's going on? Something is not right here. Okay, we don't want to speak. We want our privacy. Something is going on. What is going on? Well, when you start talking about something, people start DMing you the truth. It looks like 50 people from Hoover have already got fired for leaking what's really going on with this case. And it's trickled into my DM. So you mean to tell me all this was because she was trying to get back at her ex-man? Yeah, that boyfriend that spoke out about her being kidnapped and held and tortured. Yeah, that was her ex-man. And he actually cheated on her with a stripper. And Carlee had it out with the stripper. And to get back at him, yeah, she disappeared herself. And then got afraid when it blew up. Someone from the police department just could not watch us all suffer. So they released these details. Here's the update. She's sticking to the story that she was abducted. She says she was lured into the woods by some people who live in the woods, described as a person with orange hair, balding on top, tied her up and drove her around and put her in an 18-wheeler and fed her cheeses for 2 days, and they painted her nails. They kept her on 150 somewhere, and somehow she managed to get away and run through the woods to her neighborhood until she got into her house and then goes into the hospital. Hoover got some Ring doorbell footage from her neighborhood, and it just shows her walking casually until she gets close to her house, and then she starts sprinting and flailing arms and acting a fool. She got caught stealing from work that day, failed out of nursing school, and has been on drugs. She had her friend behind her, and that's who picked her up. She was with her friend all weekend. The police knew she was safe because she unblocked her ex while she was quote-unquote abducted. She planned to disappear and realized it wasn't going to work.
This is, I guess, a text in the Hoover Fire Department. I'm speechless. Like, what more can you say about that? I just don't know. Like I said, the story got so many holes in it. It's like Swiss cheese. She has too many holes in the story. And I don't understand why and to Carlee's defense, maybe she was trying to get attention from her boyfriend, but why would you call 911? Just how about you just don't call your boyfriend no more? Why did you involve 911? So you could get him back? So we saw the tweet from the neighbor that's pissed off. And they saying they want their PTO time back, the time that they took off. And they also want their money back, the money that they donated. Too bad they can't get their food back. But there was literally $60,000 that was raised. What is the thing that they use to raise? Crime Stoppers now says $63,000 was raised in Carlee Russell's search not being refunded. They raised $63,000. Crime Stoppers of Metro, Alabama on Monday reversed course hours after announcing that more than $60,000 raised in reward money for information that led to the safe return of Carlee would be returned to donors. They said they would return it. On Monday morning, the organization said they would refund the $63,000 that was donated. However, on Monday afternoon, they announced that was no longer the case. This investigation is still ongoing, and accordingly, there is no basis to refund any contributions at the time. Furthermore, the Hoover Police Department has not requested for any donor contributions to be released or refunded, the afternoon announcement stated. Russell vanished Thursday, and it goes on to the story. There were also a GoFundMe account. There was a GoFundMe account, and it was called Carlee Get Your Life Right Fund. Let me see if I can find it. Our life together. Let me see. Fundraiser for Carlee Russell, Alabama nurse who went missing, taken down by GoFundMe. They took it down.
To help the missing Alabama woman, Carlethea Carlee Russell, was taken down earlier today. The fundraiser, titled Help Her Get Her Life Back Together, appears to have had 0 donors. The page was taken down shortly after the messenger reached out to GoFundMe about the fundraising effort. The family of Russell, 25, has said in published reports they do not wish to have any GoFundMe fundraisers for her. Additionally, the $63,000 donated to the local Crime Stoppers chapter to be used as a reward for information that led to Russell's safe return is already in the process of being returned.
Well, we know that that's not true. So her family said they don't want a GoFundMe account, so which is a good thing. They're not trying to steal people money, but
as proud supporters of our
they're still corroborating this story. They're still corroborating this story, and we don't understand why they're doing it. Why are they doing this? I guess they don't want to look bad. They don't want to look bad because their daughter tried to get back at her boyfriend. Now that's the story sounds really good. I mean, it makes more sense than her story. I'm sorry. Her story as saying, hey, I saw a kid on the side of the road with the diapers on, and they pulled me in there and they fed me Cheez-Its for whatever. And they bound me, and they painted my nails, which is really odd. They bounded me, fed me Cheez-Its, and painted my nails. If you was being abducted for sex trafficking, they would have gave her some drugs. So we know that wasn't it. Maybe she needed to look more into sex trafficking stories to make her story sound believable. And she said they put her in a 15-wheeler. Why a 15-wheeler? What's up with that? I ain't never seen a 15-wheeler, maybe a 16-wheeler. So I think it sounds kind of odd. It sounds kind of odd. So I'm trying to see if they're gonna let's see. They're gonna come on with that news conference. Let me see if I can find it. It's supposed to be It's supposed to be a press conference today. It's supposed to be a press conference today. And I was trying to wait to see if they're going to actually do one so we could really find out some information. So what I'm going to do, you guys, I'm going to set a countdown for you. I'm going to set a countdown. Let's see. In 10 minutes. That's if they got a 10-minute countdown. I don't see no countdown. And you guys, like I said, at 3:30, I'm not going to close down the stream, but at 3:30, I'm going to come back on to stream this news conference for the Hoover Police Department. Let me see how I could do this. Okay, let's see if we could see if they're streaming. They put this on here 6 hours ago. It says press conference scheduled for 2:30 Central Standard Time. Due to the space limitation, this is open only to credential media only. Also, they will live stream on our Facebook page for your convenience, but I don't see a live stream on here. Maybe they're running late. You got people following it, but I don't see. Let's see live. Oh, there you go.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Frank and Pam Bearfield Training Center. I'm Captain Keith Sescaleba, that's spelled Keithczeskleba, with the Hoover Police Department. Joining me at the podium today will be Hoover Mayor Frank Brocato, spelled Brocato, and Hoover Police Chief Nick Durzis, spelled Derzis. You may also hear from Lieutenant Daniel Lowe, spelled Lowe, of the Hoover Police Investigations Division. Mayor Brocato will make a brief opening statement, and then Chief Durzis will read a prepared statement. After Chief's statement is complete, there will be an opportunity to ask a few questions regarding this investigation. Keep in mind that this is still an ongoing investigation, so there may be some questions that we cannot answer. With that, I will turn it over to Mayor Brocato.
Thank you and good afternoon for you all coming today. You know, 6 days ago our community learned about the disappearance of Carlee Russell, and it sent fear and pandemonium not just through our city but the entire state and the nation as well. The media quickly joined us to get the word out about Carlee. Our community sprung into action and they organized search parties, arranged prayer vigils, and they took other steps that I'm not even aware of to help in this situation. The Hoover Police Department quickly rallied multiple partner agencies, stopping at nothing to find Carlee. I'd like to take this time to say thank you first to the Hoover Police Department, our partner agencies, our wonderful community, and to all those that aided in some way in connection with this situation. As the days have gone on and more information has been shared, we know everyone has questions. The Hoover Police Department is known for being very methodical and thorough with their investigations. For that reason, we did not feel comfortable speaking in detail publicly until now. It is important that we share this information now so that our community can be put at ease. So at this time, I'll turn the microphone over to Hoover Police Chief Nick Durzis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank everyone for being here today. Besides me stands the team who played a significant role in this investigation. I want to thank our department, members of surrounding local law enforcement agencies, the FBI, Secret Service, United States Marshals, and ALEA for their assistance in this case. We said from the evening of July 13th, our focus would be the safe return of Carlee Russell. That occurred on Saturday, July 15th, approximately 49 hours after she called 911 and disappeared. From that point, our focus has been to determine Carlee's whereabouts during that time and what exactly took place. Let me say up front, this investigation is not over. We're still working this case, and we'll work in this case until we uncover every piece of evidence that helps us account for the 49 hours that Carlee Russell was missing. However, through the public interest, and in some cases, public fear that this story has generated, we owe it to our citizens to tell them the facts that we have uncovered. So I will give you the facts that we know today. On July 13th, at approximately 8:20 p.m., Carlee left work from a business at the Summit. Surveillance video from her place of employment shows Carlee concealed a dark-colored bathrobe, a roll of toilet paper, and other items belonging to the business prior to her departure. She ordered food from Tzatziki's at the Colonnade and traveled there. She then traveled to Target on 280, where she purchased some granola bars and Cheez-Its. From there, she remained in the parking lot at that shopping center until 9:21 p.m. when she drove to I-459. Carlee communicated on her cell phone with individuals known to her while on her path of travel, up to the point of calling 911 at 9:34 p.m. And at this time, we will play the 911 call in its entirety.
Interstate 459, and there's just a kid just walking by themselves. Hold on. Where on 459 are you? I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Hoover Med, like to get off by the Hoover Med. Okay, so you're before the exit? Yes. Okay, and were you headed southbound or northbound? Like towards Tuscaloosa or towards 280? Towards Tuscaloosa. Okay. And was the child on the left or right side? On the right side. Were they walking northbound or southbound? They're walking towards Tuscaloosa. Walking southbound? How old do they look? Like a toddler, like maybe like 3 or 4. Did you pull over with them? Or are you still with them? Yes. Okay, are you with the child right now? No, I'm not. I didn't get out of the car. I can see them though. Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them until we get there? Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, what kind of car are you in? I'm in a red Mercedes-Benz. Is it a sedan or SUV? SUV. I mean, it's a sedan. Sorry. Can you put your hazards on for me? Yeah, they're on. Okay. Did you talk to the child at all, or did you say anything to them? No. Okay. No. Do they look like they're injured? No, they don't. Are they white, black, Hispanic, or Asian? They're white. Okay. Is it male or female? I think it's a boy, a little boy. White male? Okay. So is he wearing clothes? Yes. Okay. What is he wearing? It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper. And you don't see any cars anywhere? No cars anywhere. Okay. All right. What's your name? My name is Carlee Russell. And you don't see any injuries on the child from where you're at, correct? No, but I can't really see them that good. Okay. Try to keep an eye on them for the best you can, because I don't want you to lose track of them. Okay. All right. And do they have shoes on? No. Not that I can see. I can't really see that. Look. Okay. All right. I've got them on the way, okay? Just try to keep an eye on them, but the officers are on the way, okay? Okay, thanks. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Carlee called a relative after speaking with the 911 operator. She went missing during that conversation sometime after 9:36 p.m. Traffic camera footage was obtained which depicted this portion of the incident, and that footage was analyzed as part of the investigation in conjunction with the 911 call and cell phone data to accurately determine the time frame. Carlee's 911 call remains the only report of a child on the interstate, despite numerous vehicles passing through the area at that time. No one has called to report that a child is missing, and the Hoover Police Department did not locate any evidence of a small child walking down the interstate. Data from Carlee's phone, including her Life 360 app, shows that she traveled approximately 600 yards in her vehicle while she was on the phone with 911 stating that she was following a child. 600 yards, that is 6 football fields straight, 600 yards. The Hoover 911 Center received a second call from Carlee's mother stating that a relative was on the phone with her when they heard Carlee scream, and then they had an open phone line. Hoover police officers arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of being dispatched, and several other officers arrived shortly. They located Carlee's wig and cell phone in the grass near the vehicle. Her purse was located in the front seat of her vehicle with her Apple Watch in the purse. The food she ordered for Tzatziki's was also in the car. The items she purchased from Target, as well as the items taken from her place of employment, were not in the vehicle, nor were they located anywhere around the scene. Hoover Police deployed all available assets from the point in the search for Carlee. Additional resources were called in to include our own drone unit, crime scene investigators. Numerous detectives responded to the scene. Throughout the day Friday, officers from surrounding local and federal agencies assisted Hoover Police in the search for Carlee Russell. Officers returned to the scene on 459 to conduct a thorough line search for evidence. K-9 teams from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department responded to check for any sign of Carlee, the child that she claimed to see, and anything else that could be considered evidence in this case. Those searches all turned up empty. Private citizens, including search parties organized by her family, friends, began looking everywhere that they could to find any trace. These searches took place throughout the day Friday and again on Saturday, yielding nothing. At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 Center receives a call from Carlee's residence stating that she returned home on foot. In subsequent investigations, detectives obtained surveillance footage of Carlee walking down the sidewalk alone prior to arrival at her residence. She was conscious and speaking with paramedics when she was transported to UAB. Detectives were able to obtain a brief statement from her prior to being treated and released. During the statement, she told detectives that while traveling down the interstate, she saw a baby walking down the side of the road and called 911. She stated when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came out of the trees and mumbled that he was checking on the baby. She claimed that the man then picked her up and she screamed. She stated he then made her go over a fence. She claims he then forced her into a car, and the next thing she remembers is being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. She stated that the male was with a female. However, she never saw the female, only hearing her voice. She also told detectives she could hear a baby crying. She told detectives the male had orange hair with a big bald spot on the back. She said she was able to escape the 18-wheeler and fled on foot, only to be captured again and then was put in a car. She claimed she was then blindfolded but was not tied up because the captor said they did not want to leave impressions on her wrists. She said that they took her into a house and made her get undressed. She believes they took pictures of her, but she does not remember them having any physical or sexual contact. She stated the next day she woke up and was fed cheese crackers by the female. She said the woman also played with her hair, but could not remember anything else. At some point, she was put back in a vehicle she claims was able to escape while it was in the West Hoover area. She told detectives she ran through lots of woods until she came out near her residence. During this interview, detectives noted that Carlee had a small injury to her lip, and she claimed that her head was hurting. She also had a tear in her shirt. Detectives also noted that she had $107 cash in her right sock. Out of respect for Carlee and her family, detectives did not press for additional information in this interview and made plans to speak with her in detail after giving her time to rest. Detectives continue analyzing data from Carlee's cell phone that was left behind at the scene. We enlisted the help of the United States Secret Service in conducting this analysis. Part of what data includes several internet searches in the days leading up to her disappearance that I think are very relevant to this case. On July 11th at 7:30 a.m., the term, "Do you have to pay for an Amber Alert?" was searched. On July 13th at 1:03 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term, "How to take money from a register without being caught," was searched. On July 13th at 2:13 a.m., The day of her disappearance, the term Birmingham bus station was searched. On July 13th, 2:35 a.m., a search for a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville was conducted with a departure date of July 13th. On July 13th at 12:10 p.m., a search for the movie Taken, a film about abduction, was conducted. There were 2 searches related to Amber Alerts on a computer at Carlee's place of employment, including one regarding the maximum age of an Amber Alert. There were other searches on Carlee's phone that appeared to shed some light on her mindset, but out of respect for her privacy, we will not be releasing the content of those searches at this time. We've asked to interview Carlee a second time, but have not been granted that request. As you can see, there are many questions left to be answered, but only Carlee can provide those answers. What we can say is that we've been unable to verify most of Carlee's initial statement made to investigators, and we have no reason to believe that there is a threat to the public safety related to this particular case. Thank you very much.
With that, we'll open the floor for some questions. Please raise your hand and I will call on you. Carol.
Chief, do you expect any charges against Carlee Russell in connection with the disappearance and in connection with what was taken from the Woodhouse spa?
Right now, our focus is to determine those 49 hours, so the investigation continues. So to be perfectly honest with you, that hasn't even entered our mind or been discussed.
One more question. Is it surprising to you that the family has not been cooperative in returning to be questioned?
Well, I think the family has stated to us that they didn't think that in her mental state right now, because of trauma of the incident, that she's not ready to talk, is what we've been told.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, question for Chief. You stated that the abductor had orange hair. Was this abductor black male? Was it female? Black female? White female?
I believe it's a white male. Am I correct by saying that? Was it ever? Yeah, white male.
Is this alleged abductor yet on loose in the Hoover area?
Don't believe so.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief Brittney, WBRC, has a toxicology report been done, and were any drugs or illegal substances found in her system?
We have no report of that.
Is any indication of mental illness in this case?
Not that I'm aware of.
Lisa.
There's been a concern in the community that if this turned out not to be a true story, that the next time a young woman of color was missing, that it might not be taken seriously. How would you respond to that?
I'd respond to say that we investigate every crime to the fullest, just like we have this one.
Right here.
Was she traveling with anyone? Was she traveling with anyone since the time she disappeared, to your knowledge?
And not to my knowledge.
Chief, I know you said you weren't able to verify a lot of aspects of the story. Where do you think she went, and how would you characterize what happened here?
You know, that's the $100 question. You know, we pretty much know exactly what took place from the time she left work until she got on the 911 call, and we can see getting out of the car on the interstate from that footage. And after that, I think she only knows. We don't know.
Well, one quick follow-up. Her parents. Did you speak with Carlee's parents, and why do you think it is they were so adamant that there was an abductor?
Yeah, I think parents are believing what their daughter's saying, and we've had a very good rapport with the parents, met with them on several occasions. I've talked to them today a few times, and to make them understand that we're under pressure from our community, not only in our community of the state, but nationally when the story hit. And I just wanted them to understand that today we were going to have a press conference, and what we were going to detail today are facts. And everything that I've told you today is actual facts. It's not innuendos. It's not what I think. It's not what these detectives think. It is the factual information that we have.
Chief Aldean, WBRC, how much time do you think you'll give the family before going back to Carlee for sentencing?
Well, I think our detectives have talked to the parents, and we're ready. We're ready to talk as soon as she's ready. So, you know, she called right now. We're ready.
You had one word to describe what went on. What would that word be?
How about unknown? You know, we know the facts that we have. Everything else is unknown at this time.
In the back.
What have the past few days been like for you, your department? This has been a stressful search, hasn't it?
Well, absolutely. And again, the focus of the investigation that Thursday, when she went missing, of course, the focus was to get Carlee home. That's what we want all. We wanted her safe and sound. And that's all happened. And then, of course, this has gotten to be not only a local, state story, but a national story. So, you know, it is. It's a lot of stress on everyone in the Hoover Police Department, in the mayor, every citizen here. We want to know the truth.
As you stand here, are you frustrated?
I wouldn't say I'm frustrated. I mean, I'm very happy that Carlee's home. That was the main ingredient here, and then we'll figure it out. I promise you that. We'll end up figuring it out.
Any idea about the number of manpower hours or the expense with the drones and all the rest of the search that might have cost the city and the state and the federal government?
Yeah, we haven't had time to consider that, but it's you know, again, these detectives that are here. This is just a small group of people that have been associated with this case. We have put every available resource that we have on this case because we wanted to make sure that we found out everything. We wanted to get her home, and we have.
Chief, was there any prior indication of mental health problems?
Not that I'm aware of.
Could you just expand on the people from the state, federal resources brought in? What were they doing exactly as you all were searching for her? Can you just expand on that?
Sure. A lot of the from the FBI side, several agents helping us interview. I mean, as you well know, in a case like this, especially when it goes national, we got hundreds and hundreds of calls. And when you get those calls, some of them may just be outlandish, but you've got to follow up on them because you never know that you may get that one tidbit. And I'd also say, too, that we had a great cooperation with the family. The family received hundreds and hundreds of tips, and every time they got a tip, they sent it to us.
Would you say a crime has been committed
No,
in this case?
we have not determined that, no.
Keith Mims, WAGG 610 Summit Media. Question for Chief. With all the searches that you mentioned, Chief, that were on Carlee's phone, does that kind of give you an indication of her mind state during this ordeal, the 48 hours?
Yeah.
That she went missing?
Well, you know, again, we want to talk in facts, and I do think it's highly unusual to the day that someone gets kidnapped, that 7 hours, 8 hours before that they're searching the internet, Googling the movie Taken about an abduction. I find that very strange. Yes.
Yes. Do you feel confident, do your investigators feel confident that you know why Carlee Russell may have done this?
No, we do not know. Absolutely not.
Chief, can you explain for us, you mentioned that while I believe you said Carlee was on the phone with 911, she was traveling 6 football fields, which tells you what?
Which tells me that I've had kids, and I'm sure a lot of people here have, and it's very, again, she said it, and I'm not saying it couldn't happen because I've always been one of these guys, never say never, but 6 football fields. I like athletics, I like football. 6 football fields. To think that a toddler, barefoot, that could be 3 or 4 years old, is going to travel 6 football fields without getting in the roadway, without crying, without any just moving down. It's just very hard for me to understand.
Chief, have you used any technology to enhance that video from 459, and did you see a man grab her?
We did not see, from what we can tell, we don't see anybody on the interstate other than her car and then someone getting out of her driver's side. We have sent that off to the FBI for enhancement. It has not been returned.
Do you think in this case that charges will be forthcoming towards Carlee Russell, and how serious of a crime is it to not only fabricate a 911 call, but to lie to law enforcement during an investigation?
Well, you know, again, that's not something that we've been discussed as we're going through the still investigation. But, you know, people have to understand that when someone says something like this, we put every available resource. Everybody comes together from say state, local, federal. It's just a lot of work, and you know, the gentleman earlier said frustrated. I mean, it is a little frustrating to think that all this has been done and we can't find anything out.
Did anyone see her calling in from the side of the road when she made that 911 call?
No, not to my knowledge.
All right, last question here. Is this investigation held up until you can speak once again to Carlee Russell?
Well, there's a few things that we're still doing, but obviously we want to talk to Carlee as soon as we can and do an in-depth interview. And at that time, I think we'll have these investigators doing some other things. So
that's all the questions we're going to answer today. We appreciate you guys coming, and we'll be following up with y'all later. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, Chief.
Thank you very much.
So we just heard that Carlee Russell story was fabricated. Carlee Russell's story was fabricated. Oh, let me come over this way so y'all can see me. The police chief just explained to us they tracked Carlee checking out of work, leaving her job, some kind of conference, and she concealed the bathrobe with toilet paper. Then she stopped at a store, I guess it was Target. She bought granola bars and Cheez-Its. Then she went to a restaurant to get some food. And around 9:15, 9:30, Carlee called the police department. She called 911 and told the police that she saw a baby, a toddler, on the side of the road. And if you're just tuning in, the dispatcher asked her several questions. One of the questions was, did she stop? And she said yes, she could visibly see the child. Another question, they said, did you have contact with the child? And she said no. Then they asked, okay, describe the child. Did the baby have on clothes? She said he had on a shirt, and it looked like he had on diapers. It looked like the kid was barefooted. The toddler was barefooted. Okay? So after that call, they analyzed the call. And when they analyzed the call, they said while she was on the phone with 911, she traveled 600 yards. And the police chief noted 600 yards is about 6 football fields. How can you visibly, or how can a child physically keep up with a car? Walking barefoot, 600 yards. And you're just moving slowly, probably maybe 1-2 miles an hour. I don't know. They didn't mention how long the call lasted, but while she was on the phone with the police department, she traveled 600 yards. Okay? So that's one thing that they mentioned, and they found out, hey, this is impossible. So after the dispatch hung up with her, Carlee said she called, or her cousin said she called her. And she called and talked to her cousin saying, hey, I got to stay around for this baby. The police are going to come. And she got out of her car while she was talking on the phone. And she said she lost communication with Carlee and she heard her scream. The police arrived 5 minutes later after the dispatcher hung up with Carlee. But they found that her phone was still there, that was on the side of the road. Her wallet, her cash, no, just her purse. We could say her purse was still there. Her purse was still there, but the Cheez-Its and the granola bar and the bathrobe was gone. She took that. Or her abductor, they had to feed her, I guess. So she took the bathrobe and the toilet paper with her, but she left the food that she bought at this restaurant. They call it Tzatziki's. She left that food, but she took the bathrobe, toilet paper, Cheez-Its, and the granola bar. Those was not in the car. The phone was found on the side of the road. Are you guys listening to this? This is what we just heard. The phone was on the side of the road, but she took the granola bar and Cheez-Its because she had to eat. After her cousin called the mama, and the mama called the police department saying, hey, Carlee was just on the phone with her cousin, and her cousin said, we lost contact, but I heard her screaming. And the police department went in action after they found that her phone and her purse in her car was still running. So the very next day, they listed the police department, Secret Service, the FBI, the K-9 units. They were all deployed to find Carlee. And they searched. The community erected. They deployed. Look, we already went through this tweet. The neighbor said they made flowers. They was signing up. They was donating. They made flower bands. That's what I'm talking about. Saying, bring Carlee home. The neighbors made food. All on the search for Carlee. So 24 hours later after that, or we could say 49, the police chief said 49 and a half hours after that, they saw Carlee walking home off of a Ring camera, casually walking home. They saw it on the Ring camera. And then the police, what? I think you need to write. I don't care if you feel like it. Yeah, I've been bull crapping all day. Just write your paragraphs. Then they called the paramedics. And what did the parents say to Today, the Today Show? They said Carlee fought for her life for 48 hours and she returned home mentally and physically stable. Even her boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend said the same verbiage. Carlee fought for her life 48 hours. Carlee fought for her life 48 hours. And then the police started investigating to corroborate her story because there's an abductor still out there. That's what the police is thinking. There's an abductor still out there. So after they view the traffic camera, all they see is Carlee coming out of the passenger vehicle or someone. You can't prove it was Carlee. It was just someone that came out the passenger vehicle. They didn't see a baby or a toddler. And she said a man approached her through the woods and said, "Hey, I'm here checking on the baby," and they grabbed her. She said they took her to a 15 or 18 wheeler trailer and took pictures of her. But she escaped. And then they captured her again. And they asked her, "Okay, did they bound you?" She said, "No. They told me they didn't want to get bruises on me." And they fed her Cheez-Its. The same Cheez-Its I guess she bought that she decided, okay, hey, abductor, don't take me yet. Let me get my bathrobe and my Cheez-Its and my granola bars so I could be comfortable with my abductor. When Carlee was found, or when she returned home, the only injury she had was a cut on her lip, and her shirt was torn. She said a guy with orange hair with the balding spot in the middle of it abducted her. And she heard a woman in the background, but she never saw the woman. She heard a baby and a woman. And she escaped the second time. And they asked her how she get to where she got or home. She said she just ran through the woods until she got to the main road and walked home. But then the police analyzed her phone and found out that she was researching the maximum age for Amber Alert. She was researching Taken. She was researching how can you steal from your job without getting caught. This is all the stuff that she reached prior to her allegedly abduction. So the conclusion is Carlee just lied. Carlee lied. She lied and wasted time and resources that could have been spent on a child that's actually abducted. Yes, Amari, she lied about everything. She lied about everything. Another thing, when they found her, she had $700 in cash in her sock. So you got abducted, they stripped you down naked, but you still was able to keep your money. And right now, they are stonewalling the police officers because they said she's not mentally able to speak to the police. So it's probably going to be a while before we find out, why did Carlee make up this story? Why did she do this? Why would a 25-year-old woman make up some atrocity like this and get the national attention of people, wasting all the resources, people blasting Alabama. I think they what is that? Hunter, Alabama, blasting them because they said they didn't. Some black folks said they didn't do enough, like Tamika Mallory. All on a lie. All on the lie. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to pray for Carlee Russell and her family. Because I know her family is embarrassed right now. Her family has to be embarrassed. They probably going to have to move. Because their daughter decided to pull this stuff. And you made national news. She might get kicked out of nursing. Well, not might. She will get kicked out of nursing school. And if the rumors are true, they said she stole some stuff from her job. So you know she's fired. So she just gonna be one of those females that gonna have to start over from scratch. And she's gonna have to get mental counseling. Because why in the world would you do this kind of stuff? That one article I pulled up, The Root, 5 crazy internet theories on Carlee Russell disappearance. You guys see this? One of the crazy theories it was fake abduction, and they just proved that this was a fake abduction, mental illness. That's true. There was no baby. There was no baby. That's true. We can't speculate drug use because one of the reporters asked, did they do a toxicology report on Carlee, and he said he didn't have any information. But the very last one, the gone girl theory. Faked her own disappearance to get her ex-boyfriend back in her arms. She faked everything. And it's sad. And they raised $63,000 for her abduction. And those people want their money back because they thought it was going to a real abduction. But no, they said they're not giving their money back. Hopefully they put it on some other case. But Carlee should be charged with the crime, making false police reports. And she should be paying restitution. Because how can you use all these resources for your fake allegations when there's plenty of females, not only black females, plenty of white females out there that's probably have never gotten any news media coverage. No media news coverage. She lied about everything. And I am betting anything. I bet you $10 that they will be charging her with something. But I like I said, I'm going to pray for her because this girl needs some help. I'm going to pray for her family because her mom was distraught. That first video, that when everything was, that she found out her daughter was actually abducted, that she thought her daughter was abducted, she looked like she was going to have a mental breakdown. But she had to stick with that lie. She didn't know it was going to blow up like that. That's why the girl who cried wolf. That's horrific for someone to fake their own abduction. You guys, let me know in the chat what you think. You guys like this video, share this video. We covered a lot of stuff today. I'll go through once YouTube actually finalize the video check. I'll have to timestamp everything. But remember, like, subscribe, and share this video. I'm sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.